Hey everyone, we're about to get started with our MinMax battle. I am Min, and I'll be starting off round one with Daniel Goshil, Blue White Stone Blade. Alright. I'm going to throw the old GLHF at him. Okay, so we lost a die roll, but I think this hand is perfectly serviceable. We would like to find a basic land instead of this Tundra, but I'm not going to ask for more. To note, this is with the old mulligan, not the London mulligan, but we're going to definitely keep this hand. We're on the draw. Ancient Tomb Go. Okay. So this already kind of scares me, but our game plan... I think I'm going to lead with the Ponder in case of a wasteland, and we have the ability to Force of Will something just in case, so this is fine. I think the Snapcaster Mage will come in handy also, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set Brainstorm at the bottom, Island below, and then Jace on top, and I'm going to use the Jace as our Force of Will pitch card. If Max were to wasteland me here from the spot, it would not be very good. Alright, so this looks like it could be show and tell. I'm not going to deploy this over Mystic just yet. I'm going to wait one turn. Cunning Wish. Okay, I'll allow that to resolve. So it looks like Max is playing show and tell. And to note, the first 3 matches from each of us will have to use different decks each time. So he went and found a Pyroblast. Interesting. So my plan here, I will go ahead and deploy this Stoneforge Mystic. Go ahead and get the Batter Skull and pass back. I'm going to get a Clock in play. Brainstorm is fine. We know he has a Pyroblast in hand as one of his 7 cards. Here comes a Sneak Attack, which we will cast a Spell Pierce on. We'll Pyroblast back. We will Force of Will, pitching True Name. We don't need the True Name Nemesis as we already have the clock that we want in play. I'm going to pass back here with the option of Snapcaster Piercing if needed. Otherwise, the Batter Skull will enter play. He has 4 cards in hand, one of which is likely a creature. Show and tell. I can't Spell Pierce this, so we have to kind of go digging here. Unfortunate for us, but what we can do... So next turn, we have to kind of plan this out. So I want to put in the Batter Skull, whether I do it via Stoneforge Mystic, so that's fine. I'm going to put the... So this is going to end up resolving, unfortunately, but I'm going to put in the land. I'm going to put these two on top. Brand is unfortunate. So we're gonna do this. If he's gonna draw 7 here and likely find a force of will. So there's no reason to spell pierce here, so that's gonna resolve unfortunately. And he's gonna be able to attack, but we still have one shot the following turn. Chooses to shuffle. So this game one's not really going our way, but we have plenty of tools on the sideboard to kind of hedge this matchup a little bit. That resolves. So the unfortunate part here is 4-5. So we'll attack first. Because now if you pay 7, he can't cast a Force of Will. Okay. So that unfortunately did not go our way, but Max attacks again. We have the opportunity to draw a land and Snapcaster Mage and Judgment again, which will require another additional Force of Will unless our opponent attacks for 7 of course, and then just continues having gas. But this game we're pretty far behind, and there's not really anything that we can do about it, unfortunately. So the very first thing I'm going to do is cast a Ponder. There's 2 forces gone. Fortunately, this is a shuffle. Okay. He's deciding if he wants to draw 7 here. Oh, I messed up. I should have played the island here. This could be very costly. Yeah, this game is over, unfortunately, because I wasn't able to play the island. Oh well, hopefully we can bounce back. Don't really want any of these cards. Don't really want much of the Stoneforge Mystic package, I don't think. 2 Stoneforges, 1 Batter Skull. The true names are also like not great in this matchup either. Something like this. This is probably the most reasonable we're going to get, unfortunately. It's a tough matchup. Stone Tail is very good against Tundra piles in general. This hand I will also keep. I'm going to do kind of a rare play here of end of turn brainstorming because, well, first we need to find essentially a containment priest as quickly as possible. Okay, so I don't really want the Snapcaster Mage. I don't really want the counterspell, but I do want the Snapcaster Mage later on. This is likely going to be a massacre, though. What we would like to do is find one of our containment priests. Okay. So if Max wants to cast a Vendilion Click or something here, that's totally fine. It's not a show and tell. Okay. Alright, so we have our clock in play. We have a stack of ambush vipers, essentially. I will cast a ponder here. Again, these don't really help us. We're looking for definitely not that. Suppose this is a cunning wish that's about to happen. Or a brainstorm, sure. It's possible that I maybe should have Snapcaster Mage plus brainstormed here in order to find a Force of Will for that brainstorm that Max cast just now, but okay, well, I'm definitely going to cast a Snapcaster Mage now. I'm not going to fetch yet. I'm going to fetch only if this resolves. Should I select the brainstorm? I want to find a containment priest. Don't really want these cards. Yeah, I'm just going to cast this. This runs into Spell Pierce, unfortunately, as like a decent trade, but I'm gonna be kind of as aggressive as I possibly can here. This is maybe going to be a hard cast Force of Will that's uncounterable, which is also fine. Yep. We won. Okay. Just kind of played a fish game plan there, nothing crazy. There's an argument for the Celestial Purge, but because it only hits sneak attack and Blood Moon, I suppose, but that's really it. I don't really want all four of these. Maybe like that. Or no, something like this perhaps. The true names are just not real cards, but I guess we want the ability to find the quick clock as much as possible, and the additional Stoneforge Mystics are like, they get us to the first one more quickly. So we're going to keep this hand as well, and we're going to go Island Pass on turn 1, assuming we don't draw a white source. If not, we have the ability to just basically continue down the path of getting this in play and defending it. Max shuffled with his turn 1 cantrip. And pass back. I think it's best to be disciplined. We have the ability to ponder on turn 2 if we don't have the white source. Okay. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to entice him to counter this and fight over it with the Spell Pierce. That's fine. No. So we might be in some trouble if we whiff on a land again. But it's not so bad because we have double Flusterstorm and we can ambush Viper end of turn if necessary. There was a case to be made to cash in one of these Flusterstorms on this Ponder as well, but not to shuffle either. Okay, that's not good news for us. All right, land. Batterskull is kind of a land, not really. So we're gonna be in some trouble here, and I'm okay with not having. Pardon me. So this is a sneak attack. We're gonna be in some trouble here. It's not, okay. I'm definitely gonna run this out. Continuing missing on our land drops, unfortunately for us. This brainstorm means that Max likely has something he wants to fire off on the following turn. And obviously this would just be a Spell Pierce in any case, and he can definitely pay for it, so I'm not gonna fire it off. It's likely that he knows I have some number of 1 CMC interaction in hand, just the configuration of which exactly is unknown. I am gonna Flusterstorm that, because this will likely find a Flusterstorm of his own. He's probably deliberating on Flusterstorm himself, just due to the pause here. And if I were him, I don't think I would fire off the Flusterstorm here. I think he can just wait and then have basically insurance on his own in case he draws a land. One, two. 1, 2. Yeah. So the unfortunate thing here is that our Containment Priest prevents us from doing anything of import. So we have to do this. And it's just unfortunate that we miss on land. And if this resolves, the reason I'm doing this actually is because if he puts in a show a sneak attack, if the card he has to put in is a sneak attack, it still tap him down, so we buy an additional turn to find the mana that we need. This is kind of a forced play. Otherwise, we're never going to be able to cast the Flusterstorm ever again. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put in the Batterskull, Omni. Okay, so that unfortunately demolishes us. GG's. Okay, so the Containment Priest, even if we had hit our land drops, likely would not have mattered. Just due to the fact that he had the Omni plus Unrecool situation. So next up, I'm probably going to pull out Grixis Delver, I think. Since he's going to have to swap to a new deck as well. I'm gonna go with Grixis Delver as my deck of choice. I would love to play first. I'm gonna keep this hand. It's a turn 1 Delver and a cantrip, and kind of has our ability to find our black mana to cast our interactive spells. Okay. Daze. I would love to reveal a daze. Excellent. So the very first thing I'm going to do is attack, on the off chance that he gives me more information before I cast my Preordain. Okay. I'm Preordaining, looking for a black source. I don't really want either of these cards, I don't think. Well, I found a Wasteland. I'm going to go ahead and play it out. On the off chance he needs to play into it in some case and gets a double duel, I will definitely set up a double Wasteland situation, but this hand is not lining up very well, assuming Max is playing a deck that contains basics. Grove of the Burn Willows. Yep. So this likely signals to me that this is a 4-color Leovold, also known as I will daze this. So Max is playing a deck affectionately known as Cool Runnings and 4-color Leovolds. So what kind of happened there was the first Wasteland forced him to essentially fetch out another duel because he had a duel in hand, and I was able to capitalize on it. So I'm going to cast Thoughtseize on our turn. Chooses not to shuffle. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Baleful Strix, I believe, as it is the card that has the highest chance of digging Max out of this whole situation. Yep, that's fine. I will play this Ponder. I'm going to shuffle this. I don't necessarily need the lands. So Max's hand contains Snapcaster, Dak, and Jace. Sure. It's kind of pressed in taking the true name here, I think. Yep. So you found a Snapcaster Mage, that's fine. So what this means is if I draw another... He wanted to play this out to block or force me to trade out. So the first thing I'm going to do is, oops, I'm going to cast a Ponder. Because if I find... So his out now is for me not to have anything at all and to cast a Jace the Mind Sculptor and balance my Garmag Angler. Unfortunately for Max, I do have things. So his 3 cards in hand are Dak, and Jace. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna try it. Three life stunts there were pretty brutal for him, I think. So he's playing that deck. I definitely want these. Definitely want these. I suppose let me move these off to the side for a second and reconvene. So the 2 cards I added in. So I'm expecting a strong likelihood of... I want these cards, I believe. And Goyf as well, which is kind of difficult for us to deal with. So I'm going to board in... I'd like to board in all of these cards. I'm not super interested in Force of Will in this matchup. He has a lot of recursive removal, and essentially the whole concept here is that Twisted Silver as a deck can kind of grind through removal fairly easily. I like Daze a lot because we can pressure his mana base very easily. I like Thoughtseize quite a bit. I could take it or leave it with the Fork Bolt. And I think all of these other cards are really good, so we have to kind of reevaluate how we want to position ourselves. Let's look at the cards we were intending to bring in and seeing how much of a slam dunk all of these are. I'm not so sure about the Staticaster, but everything else really, I think I really do want. It's possible the Arcanist is not particularly well suited for this matchup because it's likely the likelihood of it attacking and it mattering is very, very slim, I think. So I might board those out on the draw as well. So I'm gonna shave instead on the draw, I think, and do something like this and just keep in 2 forces and then the rest of these. Strix is kind of a card for both a Braid and Staticaster, but I think that we can power through a Baleful Strix or 2 with this deck. The threat suite is very potent, and I think that's the really important part. The Edicts are kind of me hedging a little bit against Tarmogoyf, which is otherwise very difficult for us to kind of for us to power through. We're going to keep this hand. It's not great, but it has a threat base to kind of propel our plan forward, and it has a Wasteland, which is one of the best cards in this matchup for sure. Another case to be thinking about is a Surgical Extraction, which I think boarding in Surgical Extraction against this deck, if the game plan isn't really to worry too much about basically how Punishing Fire is a problem, but we can often power through it, I think. So our hand's fairly slow, and I want to kind of slow the game down a little bit. Badlands likely means he has another blue source that is a dual land, and he wants this to get wastelanded if we have a wasteland. But instead what I'm going to do is ponder on turn 1, I think. I'm going to go ahead and fetch Volcanic Island and kind of gauge... Okay, so Bitter Blossom is an excellent card to have in this matchup. So what I'm going to do is put... I don't really need the Underground Sea, so we can stack it like this. Bayou. Okay. So if he had slammed a Tarmogoyf there, that may have been an issue. No boost source is kind of suspect. So this is likely screaming an Abrupt Decay or some other card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch this out and then deploy the Young Pyromancer to kind of eat a removal spell. Oops. Be it Punishing Fire or Decay or what have you. Yeah, Abrupt Decay. That's fine. This is, I think, the more important card in this matchup. This is a Walker. We might be in some trouble. Okay, it's not. So I'm going to lead with this. He has to force it, which is fine. There's no reason to deploy the Wasteland here yet either. Force of Will, Pitching Ponder. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get out another Underground Sea, I think. We're gonna continue cantripping. Bottom, top. Okay, so lots of black and green mana, but not really anything else. This is why I got another Underground Sea, by the way, in case I rip a Garmic Angler. I'd be able to cast Thoughtseize and an additional spell. Like there's a higher density of double black going on than otherwise. So Snapcaster Mage, if he should get something back, I think this is the clear take. I'm gonna play this, but I'm not gonna use it yet. And I am just going to cancel. So I'm delving specifically in a way in that I'd like to minimize how big a gonna command me, name that, or return that back to my hand. That's fine. I'm just gonna let this resolve. And discard the bolt. I'd like to keep the rainstorms. I want to be patient on these. He finds a blue source here. It's a little problematic. What is this? Diabolic Edict. Okay. I can't really draw into anything here except for a Force of Will, so I'm just gonna let this happen. That's fine. This is one of the few cards that actually matters in this spot, unfortunately. An Edict of Our Own, which looks a little comical here. True Name Nemesis. Okay. Put that, and hope to write. Oops. So if he finds a blue source, we're going to be in some trouble this turn, but if not, we're going to be able to kind of maneuver our game plan into a spot that lets us to ride this True Name to victory. I think this delvered it quite a bit because you can kind of sit on your cantrips and not worry too much about Anything else going on? I'm gonna shuffle. I thought about keeping the young pyromancer, but the other two cards were just not good. So he has got a Kolgan's Command and a Snapcaster Mage. There's no reason to fire off their brainstorm yet. I have one bad card, but I don't have two. And so if I whiff, it's pretty bad. And I'd like to find a fetch first. Found the blue source. And he only has one shot at it, so I can understand not fetching. During my upkeep, we will be fetching, that's fine. Yep. So I'm gonna do this. Kolgan's Command. That's fine. So his card is K command in hand. Okay. That will resolve. So I want to cast this brainstorm now. This is going to be a Snapcaster Mage plus Edict turn. There's nothing I can do about that. That was going to be a kind of an avenue available to him no matter what happened. So he has 2 unknown cards in hand. I'm not going to take the trade. Okay. It's going to be a close game. Nope. Red Elemental Blast. Okay. I am going to block with this token. This days is not looking so hot in this spot. It will attack. Yep. Leovold is fine. Nope. He has to block here. Ooh, I don't know why I didn't tag with the other one. I'm not gonna play this Delver. That's fine. Block here, take 3. It's probably game. Alright, so we're both 1-1. Thankfully it's not a complete wash. Alright, so last deck. I'm gonna go with Miracles, I think. Yeah. I'm gonna go with my list from Cincy with main deck, back to basics, and so on. Let's see. I will keep. Ancient Tomb. Yeah, I kind of suspected that he would play a Chalice of the Void deck. But we have the one card in our deck that actually has text against this. So we're going to play kind of a stomp-based strategy of our own this time around. Bomberman. This is a Monastery Mentor. Yikes. Okay, well. We're going to do our best. I think both of us knew that I was going to play Miracles for round 3 and he was going to play Bomberman for round 3, so we're going to see how this match works. This is probably a Karn. Okay, so I probably should have anticipated that. We have a Judgment on top of our library. Okay, so we can find something to do with this Karn. We have a lot to answer, but we have the tools to do so, I think, assuming we, our opponent does not murderize us in the meantime. Yep. So Max is going to create another army, and I'm going to have to essentially rip a terminus. Maybe not this upcoming turn, but the following turn. If I don't rip one immediately, because I need the white mana for my judgment. Okay, so we have the 4 now, but that doesn't really help us here. 5, 6, 7. This is 10. Believe we are vanquished. Yep. So that was pretty tough. But I don't think there's anything we could have done there specifically that would have changed the outcome of that game, I don't think. So the things we need to board out in this matchup. This is the match. This is the deck that Max is telling us about in Every Eternal. That is probably one of the best decks in the format, if not the best deck in the format, and it feels pretty broken. It attacks from so many angles, and it's really difficult to kind of counteract in any way. So I quickly just sideboarded, but the cards I really want answers to or outs to are the creatures, because he has so many that are they just go wide and they're terrifying to deal with. But the issue is also that we don't have a ton of ways that we can interact with them, and it gets pretty terrifying very quickly. The clicks are maybe not good enough, and counter spells also maybe not good enough, because we're just going to have to fighting on the stack essentially as much as possible. See, those are out. I cut the 2 Preordains as well, because I think every single turn our mana is just going to be taxed heavily, and Jace is just legitimately not something that we can really rely on too much. Maybe our own mentors are the incorrect play, but I'm going to give this a shot. I would like to play first, yes. Man, I want to keep this, but if our opponent Chalice of the Voids on turn 1, I understand that with the Ponder we should be fine, but like, these are not cards, so I'm gonna mulligan this and just try to be disciplined about it. It's a little bit better. I mean, it's not actually. I'm gonna bottom this to get full value out of our Ponder. It's the same hand, just with Terminus instead of anything else. Alright, well, let's hope our opponent does not force us into forcing on turn 1. I think he's thinking about deploying some baubles in this spot. So we have 2 lands on top of our library, and we'll probably end up shuffling them away. This matchup feels scary. This deck in general just feels scary. Yep, our hand is hot garbage. Flooded Strand is the name. Alright, well, Max is stuck on 1 land, which is pretty good for us, and one of the only ways I think we can possibly win this matchup. We have to kind of cheese them, I think. is the biggest thing. Lotus Petal resolves. Monk's Opal resolves. Mana Mentor resolves. Immediately we'll plow it. I'm curious when he's going to use the Mishra's Bubble. Probably now. Yeah. See what card I draw. So I have to play this out. Yep. Oh no. Alright, well he has infinite mana. At any given moment we have to rip a Terminus. Actually, yeah, there's just no way I can win. Yeah, he'll just continue making a 2020 monk and then kill me. GG's. Okay, well that felt terrifying. Let's see what I can do about that. I think I'm gonna give Grixis Control a shot against him now. So I'm down 2-1. I'm sorry, 1-2. I have 1-1 match and he has 1-2. I would be very surprised if he didn't choose to re-register Bomberman. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. I suppose I will keep this hand, and I'm gonna bottom that. I'm playing Grixis Control with the new Nar set. So if this is match point for Max, essentially. Bomberman feels really powerful. Okay. Brainstorm. So look at Storm then. Okay, so it knows about these cards in my hand. Cabal Therapy is not very common in Storm these days though, so it's probably Storm. Oh, I see what this is. I was about to go crazy with this. Yep, probably taking my Jace. In which case I will simply Snapcaster Ponder on our main phase next turn. Yep. Unless we draw something else, of course. I think the play is the same. I can hold the Ponder in my hand. Oh, this is probably Phoenix. I see. Alright, well. We have a game plan, and that is to completely murder my opponent's hand. Buried Alive unfortunately resolves. Max has 2 additional spells. I'm probably going to end up losing this game. The goal here is to take the rest of the spells from Max's hand. Preordain. So I can decide to him here or not. And I kind of want to set up this spot where I can just deny him cards forever. So I'm going to keep these. No. Oops. Oh no. Alright, so the plan is to keep Max off of spells. Seems like a fine enough plan, right? Okay, so I think we have this game. I think Max is going to be hard pressed to string together that many spells. There's not really a +1 card in the Phoenix deck from my knowledge. All right, that felt pretty good. Difficult, but good. Inhala, spell bomb. So cards that don't really have text on them. I like Narset. I like the hymns. I like a lot of these cards. I'm not so hot on this one, I don't think. I think everything else is pretty necessary. Our opponent has a lot of discard spells, so I'm not super crazy about the Force of Wills. Kind of go like this. Flowstorm isn't at its best against Max. I try something like this. This seems fine. Discarded all 4 Phoenixes there. That was pretty scary. We can reevaluate sideboarding as needed as well. I'm not crazy about the blasts in this matchup. Well, the last stuff doesn't really have text on it, but I'll keep. It has a game plan, and the game plan involves this card. So we're going to lose pretty much to any busted draw that Max has, but anything else, I think we can grind through pretty safely. Kept down the 6 and squared to the bottom. Okay. no discard spiral on turn 1 leads me to believe that there is a young pyromancer plus cabal therapy in our future. Alternatively, it could be whiffing on land too. Okay. That's fine. I'm gonna get a Badlands with this. Alright, so unfortunately we discarded the Phoenix with that, but what can you do? Sure. I personally am not a big fan of these Phoenix decks. I think they're operating on pretty narrow margins, and it's difficult to leverage a lot of the powerful spells you'd be playing otherwise. Oh no, okay. So he's got a Phoenix. I think I will brainstorm. If we find a spell removal spell, that's great for us. Okay. This is all well and good. I don't really want the Jace, nor can we cast it anytime soon. And I'll put the Deluge on top. Yeah, that seems fine. Opponent has not cast a ball therapy yet, so I'm gonna wait and hold on the bolts. Okay. So now I wanted the Deluge. I don't really want the Jace. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just cast the Narset to turn off our opponent's cantrips and continue digging. This could be a blast. In case I'm totally fine with swapping with a blast. That means he doesn't have to blast anything on his turn to get the Phoenix back. A Daze? A Vendilion Click, sure. Targeting me. Okay, so I have 2 removal spells for the Click, so I'm not super worried about handling it. So this is kind of a weird spot because if our opponent, like if I neg on this, our opponent can kill it, but I think the static effect is powerful enough to not actually allow that to happen. So I'm making a conscious decision and not neg-2ing on my Narset, and I have enough cards to win the game, I think. Sure. We saw the Deluge, so I think he was hoping to snipe this and leave us without any way to kill the Click. But unfortunately, we have drawn the Snapcaster Mage. Yep. Unfortunately, here... Okay. I took a kind of a risky line there, thinking I could maybe take another hit from the Click without an issue. Okay. So this Narset is probably going to lock the game up if it resolves. I think we can safely ponder first. That's the card I want. Yep, he'll name the Nihil Spellbomb. Or the Suncaster Mage. He already knows our hand. Yep. This it seems pretty good. But I think this is probably the more powerful of the blue walkers that got printed. So the first thing we're going to do is this. I'll see what Max has going on, but I surmise it isn't much. Oops. Okay. We have the JSON top of our library, and we're just gonna kind of grind this out. I think I am just gonna run this Jace out. It'll maybe draw us into a surgical extraction. This Force Storm's not looking so good. There we go. Probably shuffling away a bunch of cards. I don't really need to kill against command either. Going to get the last Ungrancy out. Thoughtseize my opponent. And we have this. Fork bolts. That's pretty good. Can't do anything about that. So both of our Narsets are gone. Don't really need this. Don't really need this. I'm gonna snap Bolt Max on my end step. I'd like to get a clock on. Do we have a Brainstorm in the graveyard? We do already, so we don't have to burn this one on our next turn. But I'm going to anyway, I think. I'd like to find a fetch. There we go. Dark Confidant. Sure, that's fine. I could theoretically let this live and just attack and bunch, but that's not something I'm really interested in doing. Okay. I am going to shuffle. Okay, that's fine. Is this lethal? I think it is lethal, but because I can unsummon this and then snap. I need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana to do all of that, so I'm not going to bother. And we won. All right. Match 5 for all of the marbles. I think what I want to do... Oops. I have to decide what deck I want to play for our last match. This one's for all the marbles. Our options include Grixis Control, which I think is a valid option. Grixis Deliver, Stoneblade, Miracles, or that. And I think I want to give this deck a shot. I think this is the deck that is the most proactive and kind of forces Max in between the matchups that we've played so far. This is the deck that I think has the better matchup spread against what he's playing specifically. So I think I'm going to give that a shot. I believe Max is going to be playing Bomberman, but it is unclear. There's a chance he could play Sneak Show and try to mise me if he thinks I'll play Miracles, but we'll see. I'm going to keep his hand. It's a little slow, but it has interactive pieces and a threat. I think today's the day we're going to see if this card actually does anything. So, this match specifically. Thoughtseize me. So at this point with this Thoughtseize, he's probably going to take the Ponder. Yeah, my hand's pretty redundant, and he probably believes I'll have a threat on top of our library. Let me think. 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay, let's proceed back to our turn. And we'll play this Arcanist. It's probably going to end up dying. It's still kind of unclear what deck Max chose for his last one. I suppose it could be Phoenix again, but that's kind of weird. I could have sworn he was going to pick Bomberman. Let's see. Oh, okay. It looks like it's Esper Mentor, perhaps, or Esper Stoneblade. Either way, probably not the best matchup here. The Pyromancer is the card that we actually wanted to keep, but it's likely that these cards in our hand are not going to be able to convert into actual value. If he does kill my Pyromancer this turn, I'll probably end up bolting him in response. Okay, well, maybe I should fire off the bolt here, but I'm not going to. I'll probably end up taking it. Yeah, okay. So our hand's kind of not in a great spot, but if we find a cantrip here, it might be good. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. So it's likely that the young Pyromancer is going to get killed here, and there's no... part of me thinks that if he does... Oh, okay, well... Looks like the days... Our hand is kind of... We're looking pretty poorly positioned here. And we're just drawing lands. That's quite unfortunate. But it happens. I mean, Delver kind of is inherently built to be on this weird axis. Narset Parter avails. Okay. Well, we don't have any cantrips in our hand to be punished by Narset's static ability. We can Fork Bolt it. And an additional turn below. Alright, well, if we found a threat, maybe their worst threat in this spot, but it is a threat at the very least. And we know he has a Jason hand, which is not good. Definitely not. I think next turn I'll probably play out one of these lands, and if we draw another land or a forest, the intention of hardcasting a Force of Will might come across here. Okay, so now we can kill the Narset with the Fork Bolt. He found a Batter Skull. Oh goodness. Okay. This game is not looking so well for us, folks. We have to find either a true name. An Angler is probably not going to be good enough. Well, it could be, possibly. If we've top deck an Angler here, we can kill the Jace. Well, it's another land. Well, we'll kill the Jace anyway. I think it's a force play, and I believe Max knows it to be a force play. And then we'll play the Delver back out, and I think we'll play a land now. Because we already have 2 bad cards to put back regardless. The Daze isn't going to do anything. And if we top deck a Force of Will, we'd like to be able to cast it, perhaps. What is this? EE? Okay, well, so long Delver, I suppose. Baleful Strix. Okay, well, this Delver is probably never going to get through, unfortunately. And I think he should kill the Delver on this turn without giving me the Scry. Yeah. That makes sense. And we're hoping to draw a Brainstorm here. Okay, well, Thoughtseize is... At least that'll give us some more information on what Max might have in hand. Jace, Batterskull. Oh, goodness. Well, we can't really beat anything. We'll take the Jace, I suppose. And we don't have any way to kill a Batterskull in our main deck. All of our edicts in our sideboard, so we'll see. Inquisition, yeah, I'll take the Daze, that's fine. Hand's kind of in shambles here. I think the jig is up at this point. If there's a Batterskull, we'll have to probably top deck a True Name exactly now in order to really have a chance to stay in this game. A True Name off the top would be extremely good. Let's see. Well, found the Delver. It's a threat, and I mean the Strix obviously blocks it, but we know he's got a Batterskull. And the Delver's not gonna flip either. Well, okay, we don't have to concede now. We'll check to see what we draw because we can shuffle it away, but it has to be a True Name here, basically. Daze is not a True Nemesis. Okay, well, unfortunate, but let's see. Dazes are never good in this matchup, and I want the snares. I want ways to kill opposing True Names and the Bitter Blossoms because they're good against grindy matchups in general. Flusterstorm, not ideal because he's playing more of a definitely has creatures that are more important here. I don't like the Dazes on the draw, or I don't like the Dazes really in this matchup at all, to be quite honest. And some of the forces don't really do me any favors, I don't think. I know I boarded out Arcanist last time around, but I'm probably not gonna do it this time. So I think it was a mistake to even board it out last time I did board it out, just against a kind of a grindy control deck. I think Arcanist is we just want threat density in general. All right, well, I don't feel great about this matchup in particular. I think Max has the tools to kind of grind us out in pretty much every instance. I know playing Esper Blade, the Black Splash can be for, is usually going to be for discard, but he might go even deeper in some cases for like Liliana's perhaps. Santa's a mulligan, unfortunately. Yeah, alright. This hand is not very exciting, but we're going to bottom that. So people kind of deliberate between Ponder and Preordain in these turn ones, but I think the correct play is to Ponder first, because we have multiple fetches in our hand, and Preordain, we want to make sure we maintain the value out of our Preordain after the fetches kind of occur. So we're going to Ponder first instead of Preordaining here. Because if we shuffle after Preordain, then it just kind of undoes the scry. So, alright, that's a shuffle, unfortunately. Well, Brainstorm's not too bad. We can hopefully try to see if we can convert some of our, some of these lands in later on. We definitely boarded out all of our dazes. Island. Okay, so he doesn't know if we have Stifle or not, so I might as well fetch main phase with no issue there. So I'm gonna go ahead and run out the Young Pyromancer here. It's possible that I maybe should wait until turn 3 to generate value for sure, off of the Pyromancer. But if Max's next turn is Plains Plow or so on, we have cantrips in our hand to refuel and find one of our sticky threats that actually plays against. Okay, so it doesn't. I don't think he's gonna play into Daze anytime soon. So we're just going to kind of play it a little bit slower. That might be a mistake. I'm not super well versed in the Grixis Delver against Esper or Stoneblade matchup in general, but I think Grixis Delver has the tools to kind of play a little bit slower against these grinding control decks, especially if you have Bitter Blossoms in your 75. So here, okay, Edict. Well, that's not great, but we have insurance against a True Name should it appear. We're going to start off with a Ponder, I think. Again, we want to save the Preordain until after we finish fetching in order to maintain value from the scry. Okay. Is this a Spell Pierce on our cantrip? It's possible. If that's the case, yeah, this is fine. I think we're just going to play our Flooded Strand and pass with the added insurance of having the Brainstorm up and just attack for 2. And again, take it a little bit more slowly. Again, this might be a mistake in case the Young Pyromancer does get removed the following turn, but I can't imagine brainstorming into anything that we want to actually play here outside of maybe exactly Delver of Secrets. Okay. This is a Plow, yeah. Kind of figured as much. We'll just get value off of the Pyromancer and cast a Brainstorm here. If he has another Flusterstorm, might be dangerous, but okay. Well, we're going to shuffle those away, and we're going to Bolt Max, take him to 12, and then the Pyromancer tokens will take him to it's a 9, ideally. Yeah, then we have a follow-up threat plus a cantrip to look for more threats. Obviously, if a verdict comes down this turn, it might be messy, but what is this? Oh, okay, well, Ambush Viper to block one out. That does significantly change the clock. It's curious, though. That means he can't play around Day's upcoming turns and just needs to do it now. Alright, well, we're preordaining now as we've already burned away all of our fetches. And we're just gonna double Delver here and hope that the Delvers flip. I don't think I'm going to upkeep Brainstorm, assuming the Delvers survive, of course, in which case. Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, alright, so this meant that since last turn he had to play into Daze, this means that he's going to repeatedly play into Daze and doesn't have additional mana. Alright, well, hopefully this Delver is good enough. We'll see. I'm not going to Brainstorm in response, just like I said it wouldn't. Okay, so Ponder, that's good. That's a very good draw. Gonna lead with a Ponder here. We're looking for, okay. Well, we can play in another Delver here and then have it flip off the Thoughtseize, but I feel as if something dangerous is coming up next turn. we can technically do both. So I'm gonna brainstorm now, get the Thoughtseize, and set up the Delver to flip. Hopefully, okay. Well, we found a Bolt, which is pretty good. We'll Thoughtseize now. Yeah, maybe this turn was kind of played a little bit incorrectly. We'll write down what he has in hand. Brainstorm, Lingering Souls, Stoneforge Mystic, and Batterskull. He's lacking the black mana to flashback the Lingering Souls, and I think we can beat the first activation because he'll have to block both, and we can bolt one of them. So we'll attack here. We took the Brainstorm so that he doesn't find the black mana in any case. And we have a Wasteland coming, so hopefully it's good enough. We'll see. So this Bolt now basically is our best chance to win this game. Oh, this is actually pretty bad. I think I stacked that incorrectly and played that last turn pretty terribly. I think I perhaps should have played the Delver and had it flip instead of casting the Thoughtseize this turn. Well, we'll make the best of it because now we're going to play the Delver and it's not going to flip. And so if he finds the black source, we're going to be 2 turns behind on the clock. Oh man, he found the black source. Oh, that's so rough. Well, we may have lost this game just due to this situation. Because this means there's a Batterskull coming the following turn. Yeah. I don't think we can survive through a Battleskull hit unless we find a True Name underneath the Wasteland. We will Wasteland, however, but if he has another land, he can equip plus Jite. So we're only attacking with the 1. He'll end up double blocking to trade. He knows that. Well, I could have been really smart and not flipped on purpose to fade the fact that we have a removal spell, but I think the equity of I think a removal spell would still win the game there no matter what. So obviously I would have flipped to it. This is pretty bad. So it's a chance he's gonna put in the Batterskull main phase to play around like the one I've been doing, click that some people like to play in Delver. And we have to either flip the Delver now off of a Bolt or Underground Season, either one of those. Alright, well, Max wins. That was a spectacular 5-match set, I think. And wow, I think both games we were very, very close. If we had maybe drawn 1 less land in both instances, it would have been a lot better for us. But I don't know. I was pretty happy with the decks in general. Delver, I think. So I didn't get to play Pinball Miracles, so I'll end up doing a legacy video with that one later. But this Miracles deck, I like it quite a bit still. I think it's really well positioned regardless right now. But I think right now there's on Magic Online especially, there's a lot of like Karn and Post decks, and Miracles isn't the most well positioned there. Oh right, I should trade him. All right, one sec. Yeah, so like a lot of these Miracles in general is kind of difficult to build correctly when this is awful. Give me a second. Miracles in general is difficult to build correctly because metagames are kind of in flux with all of these new War of the Spark cards. So we're just gonna I'm probably going to take a small break from Miracles in general outside of maybe that legacy video with the 4 mentor version that I've written about a few times now. But besides that, I think legacy right now is a pretty exciting spot. Let's make sure he gets these cards. Great. Well, yeah, let's go back and talk about these decks. So, I think Miracles should definitely still lean on back to basics pretty heavily, and this version specifically doesn't, in the main deck at least, but it does have the 4 Monastery Mentors and kind of has all these cards that, have text on them specifically. Let's see. Oh, yeah, give me... let's do a quick rundown at the end here. Yeah, so like I like this list quite a bit, and I like the concepts that it teaches quite a bit as well. In that, you have cards that are guaranteed to generate value the moment you use them, in some capacity, and you have full flexibility and control over everything you're doing, and that's part of the reason why there's no counterbalances in this list. It's very much an intentional change. I know I've pointed out that people can play the counterbalances instead of the back to basics in the sideboard, but right now, with the new War of the Spark cards and Karn and the new Ugin and so on, there's 12 posts rampant all over Magic Online right now. I would not be surprised if it won the challenge tomorrow, to be honest. That deck scares me very, very much. I don't think I did this deck justice either, the Stoneblade deck. I think I played the match I played with it very poorly, especially game one, with not playing the land. Yeah. Um, and obviously there's no way of knowing if that would have won the game for us, but it would have definitely been closer than it ended up being from that spot. In any case, thank you all very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. This will hopefully be the first of many min-max battles. And I wanted to point out this Dread Horror Arcanist card. We didn't get to really see it shine, unfortunately, because I think I made a mistake when I boarded it out in our first match, because it should have been definitely a card that generates value. And it's possible that it doesn't really belong in a Delver shell anyway. And then lastly, Grixis Control. This deck kind of did its own thing. We didn't really see the power of the new cards in it, because they kind of supplemented the plan the deck had to begin with. So Narset kind of doing a Leovold impression. It's really hard to tell if the card actually had much of an impact, and I don't think it did. Just due to the fact that Max didn't really draw cantrips afterwards. So, but yeah, thank you all for watching. This was really, really fun. I will definitely do this again sometime. Congratulations again to Max for vanquishing me, and I hope I'll get my revenge next time. Thank you.